Earth. From space, Earth looks peaceful, a glowing blue orb wrapped in delicate clouds, floating silently in the black void. But the silence is deceptive, because from up here you can't hear the wars, the wildfires, the rising oceans, or the quiet desperation of billions. It's beautiful, breathtaking even, yet also terrifying. How fragile it all seems, suspended in emptiness, vulnerable to the chaos we create and the forces we barely understand. Looking down from orbit, one question echoes louder than the rest. How long can we keep this world alive? This view stirs something ancient in us, awe, fear, wonder, and a deep, urgent need to rethink what it means to call this place home. In the vast darkness of the cosmos, this planet is all we know. Its beauty is unmatched, its balance delicate, and perhaps that alone should be enough to make us care more. From the moment we first struck flint against stone, we've been chasing the impossible. We tamed fire, carved tools, built empires, and mapped the stars. Not because it was easy, but because we had to know what was out there. We've crossed oceans, climbed mountains, split atoms, and stood on the moon. Through war, peace, loss, and love, we kept moving forward, because to be human is to reach, to fall, and to rise again. We dream in defiance of gravity. We build in defiance of fear. And somewhere between our first footsteps and the roar of a jet engine, we learned how to touch the sky. Today we'll be exploring whether air travel is really as safe as it's claimed to be. Part 1. What's really happening to planes? Something strange is happening above the clouds. Just 1 week ago, tragedy struck again. Another plane, another crash. This time, in India. 270 lives lost in a single moment. But here's the question. Why now? Why are plane crashes suddenly making headlines over and over again? For decades, flying has been considered the safest way to travel. Safer than cars, safer than trains. But something feels different. Has something changed in the skies? Are we witnessing a shift in aviation safety? Tonight, we dive deep into the data, the disasters, and the dark side of modern flight. This is the story behind the headlines. This is the truth about airplane crashes. Part 2, Aviation History, was written in blood. The reason flying is so safe today can be summed up in one chilling sentence. Aviation history was written in blood. That's it. But beneath that sentence lies a deep and painful truth, one I want you to truly understand. In the early 20th century, stepping onto a plane wasn't just a choice, it was an act of bravery. Flying was rare, risky, and reserved for the ultra-wealthy. Back then, only the rich could afford to gamble their lives in the sky. But everything changed in the 1950s. Commercial air travel exploded, flying became cheaper, more accessible, and with that came the crashes and the deaths. Each disaster, each tragic loss, forced the aviation world to evolve. And that evolution built the safety we now take for granted. So now, let's rewind time. Let's revisit the darkest turning points in aviation history, the moments that shaped the skies we fly through today. Part 3. Lessons. Written in wreckage, aviation didn't become safe by accident. It became safe because people died. And with every tragedy came a lesson. In 1954, 2 de Havilland Comet jets broke apart mid-air, killing 56 people. The culprit? Metal fatigue, cracks caused by repeated pressure cycles around their pencil-shaped windows. These crashes marked the birth of fatigue testing in aviation. Just 2 years later, 1956, over the Grand Canyon, two planes collided in midair due to poor communication. 128 lives lost. That disaster led directly to the creation of the FAA, the institution that would redefine aviation safety worldwide. From 1968 to 1972, plane hijacking surged. For the first time, passengers were screened, metal detectors, X-rays, born out of fear, now routine. In 1972, two crashes, Eastern 401 and Transworld 514, were caused by pilots misjudging altitude. These led to enhanced cockpit systems, reducing such accidents by 85% in just a decade. Then came the darkest day in aviation, 1977. Tenerife, two Boeing 747s collided on the runway. 583 dead. The cause? Miscommunication with the tower. This tragedy forced global standardization of aviation terminology. In 1978, United 173 ran out of fuel while pilots argued over a landing gear issue. 10 people died, not from a crash, but from a lack of communication. This gave rise to crew resource management, where cockpits were run by teams, not dictators. 1983 saw deadly cabin fires, almost all caused by cigarettes. The result? Smoking banned, fire-resistant materials introduced, cabin fires nearly eliminated. 1985 Delta 191 was brought down by a microburst. Afterward, predictive wind shear and weather radar systems were born. Then came terrorism. Bombings in 1986, 1988, and the unforgettable attacks on September 11, 2001. Stronger cockpit doors, X-ray screening, and a total overhaul of cabin security followed. Fuel tank explosions in the 90s led to nitrogen-based stabilizers. Liquid explosives in 2006 brought the now famous 100 milliliter liquid rule. In 2009, Colgan Air 3407 crashed due to pilot fatigue and poor training. The response? Rest limits for pilots, mandatory training for icing and stall recovery. After that, the US experienced something incredible. 9 full years without a single fatal passenger plane crash. In 2014, MH370 vanished without a trace, a chilling wake-up call. Today, flight tracking systems are so advanced, such disappearances are nearly impossible. Then, in 2015, a Germanwings pilot locked himself in the cockpit and took 150 souls with him. Since then, no pilot is ever alone in the cockpit, and mental health is monitored like never before. Every name, every number, every broken aircraft was a price we paid for the sky. So, with all these tragedies, why do we still trust airplanes? Because every crash built a wall between us and the next one. Because aviation doesn't forget. It evolves. From reinforced wings to smarter cockpits, predictive radar to global tracking. The sky is now smarter than ever. While cars take 1.3 million lives every year, the chances of dying in a plane crash? Roughly 1 in 11 million. That's not luck. That's engineering. That's regulation. That's sacrifice turned into science. So next time you look up and hear a jet engine roar through the clouds, remember, you are witnessing the safest machine humankind has ever built.